For the last half of my life, Grandpa has been a huge softy towards me. Every phone conversation I would have with him, he would always tell me how proud he was of me and how much he loved me. And he'd always add on, "I really do. I really do." As if I needed to know he wasn't just fooling around with me. When he read what I wrote for my father when he died recently, he was very touched, very moved, and he asked me if I would write his eulogy, and also because he loved me. So, Grandpa, this is your eulogy. In my youth, Grandpa was the big bad guy. He was the one who I rebelled against. And when I went off on my own, I remember him saying to me, he's like, "You don't have what it takes. You gotta work. You can't live off of poetry and music. Life's gonna chew you up, spit you out." Encouraging words. Encouraging words. And I was encouraged. Encouraged to prove him wrong. I thought I would show him by working really hard and still making my music and poetry, and all I really did was made him even more proud of me. Later in life, Grandpa would share how he actually grew up, and his childhood really had chewed him up and spit him out repeatedly. He was shuffled around from foster care to foster care. He joined the Navy too young, and he started his working life with nothing in his pockets, no advantages other than he could work really hard and keep his word. And the fact that he ended his working life with a beautiful home, immense friendships with a wide variety of people, was a great source of pride for him, and he was trying to give that to me as well. It was only much later that I learned how much he actually did for my family. He was often thankless, but he wanted to keep the children from being chewed up and spit out by life. He wasn't perfect in that, but he did all that he could, and he did more than he owed to anyone because he loved us. Now, Grandpa was a Frank Sinatra guy through and through. We all know that. He was never going to like the music that I made, as not to his taste. But when I put out my first album, he said, "Hey, come on over here. We'll sit by the pond, drink beers, Heineken's, and we'll listen to it." And I put it on, and he thought it was pretty bad, and he was never going to like it. But he listened the whole way through, paid attention. Every once in a while, I'll give one of those. But at the end, he just told me how proud he was of me. And I think that he saw that I was also doing it my way. If Grandpa had a motto, it would be what hung above his bar. "There are no strangers here, only friends we've never met." And that was how Grandpa definitely lived. His friendships were with business owners, bartenders, bankers, beatnik grandsons, anyone who did karaoke. He didn't look down on anyone, but he wouldn't let anyone look down on him. After the death of my grandmother, he found a new partner and a new love in Mylene. His life became very sunny, and that's not a coincidence. It's easy to see the last 25 years of his life were the happiest of his life because he found Mylene. Grandpa once told me that he got along with anyone as long as he didn't live with them. Mylene lived with him, so let's give her a round of applause for that. They both believed in hard work, but what he most needed was love and support, and she gave that. It didn't hurt that she is an excellent cook, an even better gardener, and gave him a little twinkle in his eye that he had all the way to the end. May we all be so lucky. Grandpa lived to be 91 years old, and he knew his time was coming. I think that he lived so long because he was well loved. He loved so much, and his pure orneriness, this pure stubbornness. When I was told that he had weeks to months left to live, I said I would come down, take care of him. And he's just like, no, you got a job. You can't just leave your job, take care of me. And I let him know that my job said I could transfer down there, work part-time, and I could just take care of him. He's like, "But what about your wife, your loving boo, Pam? You can't just, leave her." And I reminded him that her and I go on separate vacations and that we have a very solid relationship, and, she supports me coming down. And he listened and he goes, "Okay, no." Stubborn. So I came down to visit, but then eventually I was just there to take care of him and to be with him and to share our time together. He was always very proud to be self-reliant, self-sufficient, and a capable person, which he was. Eventually he couldn't actually help himself up, and he would need my help. Not that he would ask for it and he would refuse it, but he needed it eventually. And I got down on my knees and I said, "Grandpa, there's a grandpa that lives in my head. If it's slow at work, he makes me sweep instead of talking to my friends. If I mess up, he's going to tell me before you do, so you can trust me because you raised me this way." He gave a little nod, a smirk, and he let me help him up. Once. He let me do it once. Otherwise, he was just doing it himself, just pure stubborn. He did it his way. I love my grandpa. I really do. I really do.